that guy has to be in the National League MVP conversation, doesn't he?
Good evening, everyone. Looks like we got a little fall weather with us. Anyway, we always proceed each council meeting with a word of prayer and a pledge of allegiance. If you would, please feel free to join us. Would you bow, please? Father in heaven, we bow humbly in your presence, acknowledging you, Lord, as the one true God, and thanking you for your grace and your mercy and just your great and awesome power. Lord, we pray for our decisions tonight, that you would guide us in making the decisions that are best for the city of Conway and the people that live in it. In Christ's name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America and to the one stand.
One nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I've got my shirt on, my census shirt. How about the rest of you? I'm seeing a lot of blue and yellow out there.
Yeah, here.
I didn't get the email.
I didn't get that memo either.
Mine's dirty.
Yeah.
I think I got a medium on.
Medium?
Medium.
Garrett looks like a sausage packed in his, but I don't know. Anyway, Mr. Garrett, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hawkins,
Here.
Mr. Grimes,
Here.
Mr. Pruitt,
Blue and yellow out there.
Here.
Miss Mel,
Here.
Mr. Ledbetter,
Here.
Miss Smith,
Here.
Mr. Jones,
Yeah.
Miss Isby.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. You should have received copies of the city council minutes for September the 8th, 2020. Any corrections, changes, or comments?
Make a motion to approve as submitted. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. If there are no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0. All right. First up, we have our Community Development Committee. Mr. Hawkins, we'll turn this over to you.
All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. I thought we might go over financials first. So,
Well, you know what, Mr. Hawkins, you're exactly right.
let me get, okay, well, good.
No, I got my agenda out of place here.
That's
My
okay.
bad.
Mr. Winningham is sitting on ready. I know.
I'm ready.
Yeah, it's right here in black and white, Mr. Hawkins. I just didn't see it.
That's okay.
Mr. Winningham.
I brought theme music.
For what reason?
Well, our general fund is back in black.
You played AC/DC, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. Could y'all not hear it?
I when you said you played theme music and we're back in black, that's all it could have been.
That's all you can play when you get there, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. General fund's been in the red since February, and as of August, we're back in black. So we're trending in the right direction. Sales tax continues to be good for us. It was up 8.5% in August, which was for June sales. And year to date, we're up just under 5%, which in dollars for the general fund is about $665,000. And it's really not a whole lot to talk about other than that. Expenditures are still remaining down in the general fund. We're still under a spending freeze. Our other departments are doing well. Street and sanitation, their expenditures are still up over last year, but they're still showing net revenue for the year. So they're still bringing in more than they're spending out. Airport is running tight due to lower fuel sales. But the ground leases, which is a significant part of their revenue, should come in the latter part of this year and help out that fund. So other than that, I don't have a whole lot to talk about unless any of the council has any questions or comments.
I make a motion to approve the monthly financials.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the monthly financial report ending the month of August 2020. Any other discussion?
Mr. Winningham,
Yes, sir.
how in the world are we doing this with students out of town with a revenue source that I thought we depended on quite a bit. And they've not, the majority of them have not been in town for a long time now.
Right. It's actually not uncommon if you look around the state. Most, a lot of cities are up in sales tax collections versus last year. And I'm sure the reasoning for that is probably a little bit different in every city. I would say with ours, for sure, the, what we commonly call the internet sales tax, which what that is any purchases that are made from an out-of-state vendor are now required to collect and remit local sales tax. That's got to be helping us significantly, I would think. And as we've talked about before, we have no real way of knowing what that figure is, because the state does not designate that sales tax. They only designate sales tax based on the type of business that collects it. So that's got to be a part of it. I think another part of it is, spending has just shifted. Whereas before, a typical person might spend a lot on restaurants, eating out, buying things just, because they have the disposable income to do it. Now I think they may have shifted that spending towards, groceries and I hear a lot that the home improvement stores, hardware stores are doing really, really well. Record sales, I've even heard that term mentioned in some of them. So those are my guesses, Alderman. I don't have any hard, real evidence to show for that, but that would be my guess if I was to make one.
And those are the things I'm hearing as well in the home improvement area. I know that a lot of our local businesses have really struggled, but they have worked really, really hard to keep their doors open. And matter of fact, we're working on another project within the city to help them with some areas, one specific area for takeout. What we're planning on doing is Brad Lacey's given me a list of all of the downtown restaurants. And this is something we discussed today, myself and Aaron and Felicia. And one group used to be Chicago. They're now Brick and Forge. They want a specific spot for pickups, and we're going to give them and JJ's one side by side there. And we'll do the same thing for all of our restaurants here in Conway so that everyone will have a place where takeout orders can be picked up. That's a small gesture on our part, but they have all worked so hard to keep their doors open that anything we can do, we're going to step out and try to help them. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Winningham.
Yes, sir. And another aspect of it could be the prices. Sales tax is based on, the price of what you buy, and everybody's seeing now that lumber has gone through the roof. So, as things get more expensive because the supply chains are shrinking down and you got the whole supply and demand economics, at work, as prices go up, so do the sales tax collected on those items.
Very good. Mr. Winningham, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. You bet.
Yeah, and building in Conway is still doing quite well.
Yes.
Construction in Conway.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, Mr. Garrett, would you call the vote, please?
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed.
Passes 8-0. Now, Mr. Hawkins, we'll turn it over to you for community development.
That sounds good, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. First item on the agenda is an ordinance appropriating and accepting CARE Act grant proceeds awarded to the Conway Regional Airport. And we have an ordinance to read for this item. It's ordinance 02054.
54.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Jack Bell, would you address this for us? And by the way, Jack, you're doing a tremendous job at the airport. I'm hearing great things, so I appreciate the jobs you're doing out there.
Thank you. We were very fortunate to get a grant from the FAA through the CARES Act of $69,000, just a little bit out of the blue, and it's for program costs, no projects, but we found plenty to spend it on. We spent about half of it so far and have gotten reimbursed. And we had a lot of help from City Hall, from Felicia and Tyler to get that money back. It's a little challenging, but we have basically spent it on some basic needs, lawnmower, some insurance costs and different things. And it's really helped out a lot. And that Tyler mentioned that we're a little tight. Part of it is this money has not gone back into our budget yet until after tonight. So that'll help a little bit.
Good.
Make a motion that we waive the 3 readings.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to waive the 3 readings. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0.
Make a
Make a
motion for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Mr. Pruitt,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Mel,
Aye.
Ms. Isby,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Grimes,
Aye.
Mr. Ledbetter.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance approving and appropriating funds for professional services and utility improvements for the Conway Regional Airport. And Mr. Bell, you're still with us.
Still with you. This is our T-hanger project. We're finished with phase 1, which is the pad and the taxiway. We're now ready for our utilities to be installed for water and electric. This is basically phase 2, and part of this also is to pay Garver engineers for their tremendous help. They held our hand the whole way through this project. The next phase of the project will be the building of the T-hanger building, and that is going to depend on us being able to locate some matching funds of about a little over $500,000. We're hoping that the property that by the old airport will sell to the CDC. They have an option, and that would be the money that we would use for a matching fund on this. But this will kind of finish it up with phase 2, which will get us ready to put in the building, the T-hanger building.
Make a motion that we waive the 3 readings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to waive the 3 readings. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes 8-0.
Make a motion for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any further discussion?
Mr. Bell, how many airplanes are at our airport right now?
About 65, probably. I think there's.
And
Go ahead.
and this new addition will add how many spaces on T-hangers?
12.
Okay,
We currently have about 30 on our waiting list. So
that was the next question. Thank you.
Yeah. we could build 2 of these and fill them up pretty easily. We also have some open hangars that we have. We still have vacancies there, and if we could find some more money, we would like to enclose those because we could fill those up pretty rapidly if we enclosed them. But it's kind of like a carport as opposed to a garage. So most people with the nicer airplanes would rather not park in there, exposed to the animals.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Anyone else? Mr. Garrett.
This be ordinance 02055. Ms. Isby,
Yes.
Mr. Grimes,
Aye.
Ms. Mel,
Aye.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Pruitt.
Aye.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance approving the rules and regulations and minimum standards for the Conway Regional Airport. And Mr. Bell, 3rd time's a charm.
Yeah. There's some rules and regs that these are recommended by the FAA. While Michelle was here, she and our advisory committee worked very hard on these rules and regulations. What we have done since I got there is kind of streamline them a little bit, make them a little more user-friendly. But these are the basics. There's two. The rules and regs are basically what you can do on the airport. Minimum standards are more to do with businesses on the airport. So a lot of this is dictated by the FAA. Some of them are more, attuned to our airport. But we have vetted this with our advisory committee, looked them over, made comments. We also sent them to all our stakeholders, our pilots and people that have airplanes at the airport, let them go through it. We had a comment period and got a few comments back and made some adjustments to them. And they're still pretty much like the committee had written them. But this will just be what dictates what goes on at the airport.
Good. Any questions of Mr. Bell?
No. Make a motion that we waive the 3 readings.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to waive the 3 readings. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes 8-0.
Mayor, I would like to add, you had mentioned about the job that Jack is doing at the airport. He's also a great host at the airport.
I've heard a lot of really good comments, and I want to thank Jack and the airport committee for working on this. I saw that old school district come out in him. He was so organized and just checking off his list. So the airport committee and Jack, again, you've done an excellent job. We appreciate it.
We did have some special guests out last week. Her darlings.
Council, I'll take a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
The ordinance 02056. Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins,
Yes.
Mr. Grimes,
Aye.
Mr. Pruitt,
Aye.
Ms. Mel,
Aye.
Ms. Isby,
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is a resolution requesting that the Faulkner County Tax Collector place a lien against various properties for expenses incurred by the city to clean those up. We have 3 of those to talk about tonight. The first one was at 26 Briarwood Circle, where the city has spent to date $211.78. And we have a resolution to read for this item. It's resolution R2067.
67.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
I'll make a motion for adoption of the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution for property at 26 Briarwood Circle. Is anyone representing the property on with us tonight? Okay, Mr. Garrett, if there's without any further discussion, Mr. Garrett, would you call the vote, please?
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Second location, Mr. Mayor, is at 2411 Parkwood. The city has incurred $265.44 in expenses to clear up that piece of property. And the resolution is resolution R2068.
Make a motion for adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution for property in the amount of $265.44 for 2411 Parkwood. Are any property owners or representatives for 2411 Parkwood with us tonight? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Third location, Mr. Mayor, and third and final location is 255 Garland Street, where the city has spent $265.44 to clean up this property. And we have a resolution to read for this item. It's resolution R2069.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution to place a lien on the property at 255 Garland Street in the amount of $265.44. Is anyone representing the property owner on with us tonight? Okay, if there's no further discussion, Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Clausen, thank you for, Mr. Spencer Clausen, thank you for being on with us tonight. And you too are doing a great job around town. I can see you guys and your mark all over Conway. You're getting a lot of things cleaned up.
Well, thanks, sir. I really appreciate hearing that.
You bet. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is consideration to accept the nomination or nominations for several new tree board members. There are 3 vacancies as of August 8, 2020. These vacated positions were advertised, and the tree board has recommended that we approve Kelly Steed to fill the vacant professional horticulturist member position that was filled by Bonnie Stidham. The tree board asked that we approve Catherine Arnold to fill the vacant member at large position left by Tony Togney. And the tree board asked that we approve Tracy Buchanan to fill the vacant member at large position left by William Merriweather. And I move that we approve these nominations sent to us.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the nominations of Kelly Steed, Catherine Arnold, and Tracy Buchanan for the Conway Tree Board. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Walden, thank you for being available tonight, sir. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is a resolution accepting the request for qualification for professional on-call services for the Transportation Department. And when I hear that, I hear Mr. Vinson tapping in the background somewhere. Mr. Vinson, are you here to talk with us about this?
I'll speak for that one.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Hawkins.
Jamie. I'm
You're
sorry.
welcome.
I
That's okay.
apologize.
So this resolution is requesting your approval for the RFQ that was submitted this past spring. Excuse me, this is for on-call services, so it will be small projects under $20,000 for services for the Transportation Department.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. Any further discussion or questions for Ms. Bryce or Mr. Vinson?
I have a question.
Thank you.
The on-call services, is that, are we paying them to be on call for these services? Or do we just pay them as they perform the services?
The latter, that is correct. We just pay them for small projects that they perform services on.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. All right, Mr. Garrett.
Be resolution R2070. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 8-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Final item here, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance waiving the competitive bid requirements for the purchase of traffic signal products for the Transportation Department. I'm scared to throw this to Mr. Vinson because Ms. Bryce might have something to say here, but Mr. Vinson, is this yours or hers?
I'll take it since I don't hear her speaking up. This is primarily to give us the ability to continue to maintain equipment from Siemens and Consolidated Traffic Controls. Siemens is the manufacturer of all of our traffic controllers in town, and Consolidated Traffic Controls is the manufacturer of the hardware that we use for our school zones and speed zone flashers.
Make a motion that we waive the 3 readings.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to waive the 3 readings. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes 8-0.
Make a motion for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Vinson? Mr. Garrett.
This be ordinance O 2057. Mr. Pruitt? Mr. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes, sir.
Okay, last we have public service, and the last item is consideration to enter into an agreement for a bicycle and pedestrian position for Parks and Recreation. This will be a contract position and it will be part-time. So will not be paying any benefits or anything like that. But there is, as we mentioned in one of our council meetings in the past, there is some money available that I think that we can get for our parks and our trail system, our bikes and trail system, if we have someone in that position. Mr. Ibbotson, would you like to discuss this as well, sir?
Yes, so we're asking for approval for this position or for this contract services so that we can seek some grants for bicycling and pedestrian ways. We've got, we'd obviously like to see the completion of the old landfill at Blaney Hill into a mountain bike park. We've done some groundwork there. The extension of Tucker Creek on out to the airport and along with Stone Dam over to South German. And we'd like to contract those services to help us seek grants for that.
Thank you, Mr. Ibbotson.
Mayor, do you need us to formally adopt something or what is it?
Approve the agreement.
What, Mr. Finkenbinder, would you like to weigh in on this? We just need to make a motion to the council to approve the agreement. Okay.
So moved.
Okay. So I have
Second.
a motion and a second to approve this agreement. Any further discussion or questions? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes 8-0. That's all we have tonight. I would like to mention the census. We're getting short on time. So if you know anyone that needs any help with it or has a neighbor that needs some help with it, if y'all let us know, we'll be sure and help get them registered. But that's all we have. Anything from the council before we ask for a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to bring to everybody's attention. I know everyone knows we didn't have a fair this year, and the junior livestock 4-H'ers didn't get to show their animals at the fair. But this week they've been showing them day by day at different animals, different days. This Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, they'll be having their junior livestock premium auction. So if anybody listening out there would like to attend, make a bid on an animal or give a donation or whatever, these kids have put in a lot of hard work this year and haven't got to do what they normally get to do. So this would be a big boost for them if anybody would like to help out.
Thanks, Mr. Ledbetter. Are they going to do it online or in person?
As far as I know, it's going to be in person.
Okay, and that's 10 o'clock this Saturday morning?
10 o'clock this Saturday at the event center.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ledbetter.
You bet. Thank you.
Council, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Y'all be safe.
You too, man.
You too.